In this example, we're going to apply the distance formula to find the distance between the points 9/2 and 3, and the point -1/2 and -1/2. The first thing I'm going to do is label the points as x1 and y1, or x1, y1, and x2, y2. Which point you call the second point and which point you call the first point is arbitrary. I could have swapped the labeling. I just need to make sure that my y's go together and my x's go together when I write them into the distance formula. So my distance is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1. So in this case, I have x2 is -1/2 minus x1 is -9/2 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And I'm referencing the distance formula in the top right corner. So y2 is -1/2 minus y1, which is 3, squared. Now, you can perform these calculations by hand, or you can use a calculator to do it. But if you do use a calculator, make sure you only simplify the expression that's under the radical. Leave the square root, because we're going to want to have a simplified square root when we write our answer into our homework. So I'm going to show this manually, but if you were to use a calculator, I'll show you exactly what you should enter in just a moment. -1/2 minus 9/2, these two fractions have common denominator already, so I can add the numerators and keep the common denominator. That gives us -10/2 squared plus -1/2 minus 3/2, or minus 3 is -3.5 squared. It's important to note that we should be writing mixed numbers, or we should always be writing numbers not as mixed numbers, but as improper fractions. It's just the best form to use when we're doing advanced mathematics. All right, so just in case you don't remember how, 3.5, I take 2 and multiply it by 3 to get 6. And then I add 1 to equal 7. So this is 7/2. So I can simplify this further as d is equal to the square root of -10 divided by 2 is -5 squared plus -7/2 squared. Square root of -5 times -5, or well, -5 times -5 is +25. -7/2 times -7/2 is +49/4. In order to combine these, I need to get a common denominator. So I'll multiply 25 by the fraction 4/4. This gives me my distance is equal to the square root of 100/4 plus 49/4. So this is equal to square root of 149/4. And I know that I can split this fraction up with that radical, so that I can simplify this to be square root of 149 over square root of 4. And the square root of 4 is just 2. So this is square root of 149 over 2. And that is my final answer. Now, if I were going to enter this on a calculator, I would use the Desmos calculator. That's the calculator that's embedded into your homework activities, but it's also available as a free app. It's not even an app, it's just a website. So go to desmos.com and select graphing calculator. I have it bookmarked for my personal ease. So what I'm going to enter into Desmos is just this value here. I'm going to keep the radical out of it. So the beauty of the Desmos calculator is it's a natural language calculator. I can just type in exactly what I see. Parenthesis, -1/2. Whoops. When I hit divide by, it'll automatically make a fraction, and I need to hit the right arrow to get out of the denominator. -1/2 minus 9/2, 9 divided by 2, right arrow, squared, is equal to parentheses, -1/2 minus 3 squared. Oh, not equals, that is plus. There we go. And you see I get 37.25, but I'm going to tap this little fraction to decimal converter that is in this blue number 1 box. And it gives me 149/4. So I could go straight from this highlighted blue section to this answer here. All right, and then I would just have to simplify a little bit. So if that makes it easier for you to think about, then that is a wonderful way for us to think about these sort of problems.